Everybody, I'm Vince White and I'm an employment attorney. And on this channel, generally, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. But we're trying something different. You'll see I've got someone here with me today. We're building an app, and we've been talking about it on the channel a whole bunch. It's an app to help you get your narrative down, get your documents organized, get your evidence ready, and make it all in a nice, neat bundle with a bow on it for whatever attorney you might want to hire. Not necessarily our firm, whatever attorney you might want to hire. This is meant to give for free, that package to whatever attorney you might want to hire. And I'm super excited about it. So I'm here with Brett Martin. And I don't know your title, but Brett Martin's with the app team, and we're doing our first of our monthly check-ins. We're expecting 6 to 8 monthly check-ins because, listen, apps take time. As the app is built. Brett, how you doing?
Vince, excited to be on your YouTube channel here for the first time. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Really excited that we're able to do a collaboration together here. So I have been a iOS app developer since iOS was a thing way back in like the 2007, 2008 timeframe. iOS 2 came out and they said, hey, you can build apps. I started in the app building process, and since then, last 17 or so years, became a engineering manager in the last 6 or so. So I lead teams of people who build apps. And apps are, everyone knows about apps, but there's a ton of people who go into the building of the app, and they all have different roles. So in this case, I'm actually acting as a product owner. So how are we going to build this app? We've assembled a small team, including iOS and Android engineers. So we're going to have a native iOS and native Android application. There's going to be a designer, and myself, I'm acting as the product owner, meaning I'm defining what the product requirements should be. So I'm working with Vince, who's acting as the client. So he's telling me, I'd like an app to do these certain things and save this. I need to translate into what is an engineer going to pick up and be able to build, right? What's technically possible versus a really cool idea that Vince has, and we maybe need to do some more research on that before we can implement it. So we got some cool ideas on, for example, screenshotting different pieces using your phone, but we start to get into very technical requirements and what model of phone do you have? And we don't want to go that deep. And Vince, you shouldn't have to. You can just say, I want the app to take a screenshot, and I want it to be easy for my users to save their information. And I'm going to go ahead and figure out what those requirements are, and the engineers are going to figure out how to implement that on Android and how to do it on iOS, which might be totally different. So when we look at all these things, we say, well, what does the app do? I think you gave a great intro on the app, right? It's a mobile application, and it allows users to document. So what does the app do? It's a mobile application that allows the users to document workplace situations for the purpose of creating this timeline of events so that they could share it with their legal counsel if they need to, right? And that's a very high-level definition. We have a lot of nuances in there about where we save your data and maintaining privacy that I think are really important to this application. But when we build apps, we want to talk about the MVP, right? And that's the minimum viable product. I like the MLP, the minimum lovable product, right? We don't want people to just, hey, we have a feature and it works. So if you remember, like the original Facebook, it was, I want to post stuff and maybe share a picture and a message, and I want people to comment on it. That's that minimum viable product. Without that, you don't have an app. Twitter, or now X, without being able to post and respond to things, there's no app, there's no community. So what are some of the features of the app, right? We're going to be able to save notes into a secure location. We're going to be able to organize our notes in that timeline, and we're going to be able to capture data from different sources or types. So maybe you have a PDF that work sent you of your guidelines or dress code or something like that. And then we want the ability to take those, combine them with photos, combine them with your handwritten notes, combine them with a photo maybe a colleague sent you, and bundle them all up and be able to share them optionally. And if they're not shared, they remain on your phone. We never touch them. The data never leaves your personal device. So we want the app to be feel very safe and trustworthy, right? We want you to have a high confidence that this is an okay place to put some potentially very sensitive information. So with that out of the way, I want to show you how we change, or I want to show you how we take all those requirements and some definitions and we turn them into an app. So I have a quick screen share if you want to take a look at the wireframes we have for the app. And the process that we're going through is we went over this initial build of scope, and then we went through the wireframe design process where I'm going to show you right now how we translated the text into physical screens. We're going to create some flows of like, how do I do A, B, and C and end up at a final result? And then the next step, hopefully the next time we meet, is going to be a finished design for you to approve or give feedback on based on actual colors and design and images. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. You can jump in with any immediate questions or feedback you have.
So folks, just real quick, this is my first time seeing it too. When we're talking about screenshotting, it's not that the app is screenshotting off your phone. That's not what we're doing. It's a lot of people would come to our firm, right? And they'd be like, hey, I've got these really suggestive text messages. I don't actually know how to screenshot. You know, this guy is sexually harassing me, or this person is sending me discrimination via, instant message through like GChat or WhatsApp or whatever. How do I screenshot? And a lot of people don't know how to screenshot. So we're building out that ability for the app to help you, to guide you on how to screenshot and then to save that item into your app so that it is ready for your attorney and it's timestamped. Timestamp is incredible, right? But additionally, it makes it easier. And we're not playing this game where if something bad happens to your phone or if things time out or whatever it is, we lose key pieces of evidence in your case, right? So that's the goal there. And listen, I'm super excited to see this. And just real quick, one of the things we've arrived at in terms of working with Brett and the team is that there's going to be a long tail on this project. So listen, we're taking 6 to 8 months to get this built. And by we, I mean them. I don't know the first thing about this, right? But we've arrived at a contract to deal with this team. And included in that is one of the things we're discussing, and then we've kind of agreed upon, is that it's going to be long tail. Like there's going to be years of development for this app. Unfortunately funded by our firm, but you got to pay the bills. As this app continues to grow, and a lot of the feedback, a lot of the comments down below from you, I presume is going to be like, hey, that feature is fire, or hey, here's what I need in this app, or can you guys do this, or hey, I'm worried about that. How are you implementing that? Right. So I'd love to see those comments down below. But in this moment, I'm so excited to see what's been done. So I'm excited for this. I can't wait. Brett, please. I don't mean to, I'm talking too much, please.
Yeah, I think that's a great overview, Vince. And this is a key area for comments and feedback, because we are going to make some mistakes. We're going to put a button in the wrong location. Someone's not going to like the size of the font. There are things that are going to need to be tweaked and improved as we get, even some beta users who are using the app and providing feedback. And, now is the best time for feedback before we spend those developer hours actually writing code and building things. So I'm giving you a very high level picture that will be very difficult to read right now on the screen sharing intentionally here, which is to say these are what we call flows. So we have screens and I want to show the flow. So we're going to jump right into one of the more interesting ones, which is the home, right? So what happens after I get into the app? And you're going to see there's a screen on the left, screen on the right. We've attempted to label some of these with relevant names. So what I'm trying to designate here, and the purpose of these wireframes, is where are things going to be located? What's those relative size? What are some of the colors that are maybe related going to be? So the app is most likely not going to be bright blue and white, but we have a good idea where everything's going to go, right? We're going to put a nice logo right here. This could be a specifically branded for Vince, your firm, or it could be generic for this specific app, right? Again, I think we have some ideas around the name of the app, but we don't want to share those just yet. And so we just got a generic app title here. So we want to keep things super simple for this, especially in this MVP stage. We want to get out of the way and go right to documenting.
Got it. And in terms of the branding, we are going to be having our logo and our firm branding on it. But I want to stress everybody, this is meant to do good in the world. So it's not meant for you to only be able to hire a firm, right? If you create your narrative, if you assemble your documentation for whoever you're going to hire in this app, it doesn't automatically go to a firm. It doesn't go to a firm at all unless you choose to interact with our firm, right? It's for whatever firm you choose to work with. One of our core ethos is to push people, hey, local counsel is cheaper. Work with, if you have good attorneys where you are, amazing. Work with them. That is better, right? And this app is meant to be like, hey, anybody you want to work with, that's between you and your attorney. Sure, it's branded. It's it's the NYC Job Attorney, the White Rose Hilferty app, but this is your life. This is something that happened to you. Take it where you wish. We hope it helps you wherever you may go, whoever you might hire to help you, or even if you're pro se, if you're representing yourself, right? Sorry, Brett. Go ahead.
Yeah. So first things first, right? You're going to enter the app. We want to give you a welcome message, let you know, hey, the app is empty on purpose, and we want to get you right into creating that new situation. So one of the definitions we created, and we could change these words specifically, but I think they're pretty good right now, is the idea that you have these situations at work, right? Everyone has a situation. And we define some of these use cases where you say, oh, I'm having a situation with my boss and my time card, right? And so, okay, well, tell me about that situation that might span multiple days, multiple events. So we're saying, okay, this is a situation, is all of these specific events that are all related to each other. So maybe you have like closed situations. You had a time off request with your boss, and that got resolved one way or the other. And we just want to keep those notes just in case it pops up again. But right now we're having a time card situation. So very simply, we would say, how do I create a new situation? You're going to press the plus button, and a new screen will slide in from the side, and you'll be able to very simply just put the name of the situation and just a brief summary of what happened. So in this case, we might say something like, I'm having a situation with my boss and the time card, which we can see over here when we view the situation. So my boss contacted me about my time card being incomplete, and I think I clocked in correctly. And that might be that initial contact that you have with your boss. So we put a timeline together. So this is maybe after you've done a few entries. You would click on the current situation here on the left for time card. It would take you to the screen where you'd be able to easily see that summary you wrote. Maybe you can sort by reverse order. So what's the most recent event that happened versus chronological order if you're trying to go over your notes again. We have a share button here that would allow you to share this entire situation, all of the events and associated media. And we can see at the bottom here, we can continue to scroll, and there would be additional maybe media that was attached in total, files, documents, whatever that might be. And each one of these are individual events that we can then go and take a deeper look at. So I'm going to just pause right there, because the way that I've laid it out, we have that empty state, and then we created the new situation. I'm showing here now, going from the home screen to that timeline view, and then very similar things here for edit. You would have you would hit this edit button here. You'd have a slider from the bottom, and you would say, oh, what do I want to do? I want to edit the situation. Do I want to add a new event to this situation, or do I want to cancel this action? And the editing would look very similar to the creation, but it would have everything pre-filled. So this is pretty standard for these flows. Same thing for the share. It's going to pop up with a little slider here for the share. And we might have some very specific text here, like we have detected, all right, that you have linked your account, and you've set that up in the settings, and you want to share this, and then a confirmation message. You have successfully shared this situation with Vince. So does that flow make sense? Do you have any questions about like the
That makes
implementation here? I know I went over
perfect sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, a couple of things that I love. One, nothing goes to the attorney or ever leaves your phone unless the user, the potential client, the potential plaintiff specifically and proactively chooses for it to, right? It's their information. Nothing's leaving the phone. Also, like looking at that time card as you put it there, and we may want to swap that name from time card to timeline just because time cards, in the
well,
realm of
this is
employment.
the time card situation, and then this
Yep.
is the little slightly confusing here. We have the timeline, but this
Oh,
is
I
the
see.
situation
Okay.
name is the time card.
So like let's say hypothetically that October 4th entry, right? And everybody, this is the idea. So you can drill down on that, and not that we would in this moment, but the idea is like, hey, October 4th, they put me on a performance improvement plan. Great. Scan the performance improvement plan. That's attached to October 4th. So that's available. So you drill down on October 4th, the PIP is there, the performance improvement plan. But then let's say that performance improvement plan involves metrics or events that happen on October 2nd. Great. So October 2nd is going to have those documents attached to October 2nd. But on October 4th, with the performance improvement plan, you have the PIP, the PIP, the plan as something that happened October 4th. You have it scanned in there, so it's available. And you can tag those documents from October 2nd, the events underlying the PIP, and they're available. You can say, hey, this PIP refers to these documents that occurred on October 2nd. And you can see the innate organization of that, right? Like you live these events. You're the person who went through all of it. So everything is very intuitive for you because, in the same way you recall what happened to you yesterday, you also recall the bad things that were done to you in the form of discrimination or sexual harassment, right? But your attorneys, they didn't live it. So this organization helps you say, hey, I don't want to draw all the lines for you. I'm a busy person. I'm hiring you, attorney, to do this for me. I've already taken care of this. The October 4th PIP refers to events on October 2nd. And I've tagged those documents that occurred on October 2nd as relevant to the October 4th PIP, which is also scanned on October 4th. And it's super, super valuable for your team.
Yeah. So exactly what you said here. If you look at the situation, which is our time card situation, and all of these events happen, but then we can see very similar to if you look at your text messages with friends, you can go usually to further settings depending on your iOS or Android, and you can see all of the media that you shared with your friend or all of the links you shared with your friend. That's what would be down here at the bottom. So we'd be able to see the entire collection of documents associated with this event, which might make it easier to see, did I upload that screenshot of my time card? Did I put in the policy given to me by work? Because all of those things are great information, which normally when you have a picture and you have a PDF document and you have text, it's very hard to get all those guys together into a single report and share that with someone. So this, again, is the main purpose of the app, is to combine them all together. And then this would be creating that new event. So we're going to need a couple extra fields than you see here, but you can see, right, we want to tell you, like, just tell us what happened. You can actually, add a title here, right? My initial response to my boss. You can pick a date that it happened, or we can try to guess based on metadata from a photo, for example. So if you took a photo or someone sent you a photo on Tuesday, we can say this photo was taken on Tuesday. That might not be accurate if you're taking screenshots today. So we want to make sure you have the option to adjust that timeline. So you can go back in here and say, oh, you know what? This happened, and then this response happened. You can come back in here quickly, choose the edit your event, and away you go. And then this is what it might look like when you go and view that event. So we give you a little compressed view. Here's the date that it happened. Here's specifically for this event, those attached photos and videos. And then, same thing for edit. It look just like we saw above with the editing the situation. And lastly, I'll show you the settings, which again are not very exciting ever in the app. But if you click the gear icon on the homepage, we go to the settings. We're going to, again, put some contact information, some legal information here that you're going to need. And there's going to be a way to connect this so that we can do that export in a secure way. So optionally, if you want to export your data to a trusted person, we're going to link that account in a way that you would have to call first to get a code, or an email to get a code, and then that would enable that linking, and it would enable the sharing button. So all that information would be here in the settings. Maybe you need to increase the font size. Maybe you want to find other contact information. And give you a quick sneak peek. This is, of course, your website. And I gave it a quick pass at some colors and layout here, which, taking the colors that you chose already for your website and bringing them into here, we create a color palette. And we say, okay, well, maybe these would be blue. Maybe this background would be white. Maybe we have a banner down at the bottom with that advertisement or just general branding for that. So this is an example. I'm not a designer. This is about the extent of my design skills. So comments and feedback are welcome here, but we do have an actual design team who will be taking these exact wireframes and putting a lot more polish and thought into the color palette and design. But yeah, that is the almost the entirety of the app. I'm sure we're missing some setting screens here in the flow, and I'm sure there'll be another button or field or something we need to add, but this is enough to have translated that text and requirements into a physical app. We understand how those screens are linked together in a flow and how users might use this app. And that's enough for the engineers to start building. And then Vince, you can come back and say, oh, you know what? Actually I need that linking ability that you just spoke about, and I need it specifically in here. Great, we can add a field and we can add that functionality. So I'm going to stop sharing here.
Okay. That was amazing. Thank you very much. And so like on that new event, right? Immediately I'm sitting here like, oh, new event's amazing, but I would love to know who was present. Who are the potential witnesses? And then I want those witnesses to be able to be characterized like, hey, this person is very honest. This person is very friendly to me. This person is not to be trusted. This person is in the pocket of management, right? And that's incredibly valuable to know who is present, because you then, who can testify to that event. And I appreciate you coming on live to do this with us. I know it's uncomfortable, so thank you very much. Everybody, Brett and this team, one of the reasons we specifically chose to work with them is that they've worked with hospitals, they've worked with law enforcement, they've created apps for life and death institutions. And that is how we view your case, right? Like, this is how you put food on the table. This is how you keep a roof over your children's head. This is how, there's not really a social safety net in this country in the way that we might hope. And so your job becomes the source of everything that keeps you safe in your life, right? And that's how we view this. We do view these cases life or death. So while working with a team with that pedigree is perhaps a little bit more expensive, we'll say, as he not, it's a little bit more expensive. But that being said, folks, I think you're worth it, right? I mean, we got to do what we got to do. Brett, thank you so much for coming on. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, this was great. Again, this is an iterative process. And I think I'm going to send you these designs, of course, for you to review again. But you need to think about this, and you'll start to find a couple little missing pieces, a couple little gaps in what we thought we needed versus what we want. That was really interesting what you said about the people who are present and when we could add. That could be a whole another feature. It can go very deep. It could go very shallow with just another field that we add there. The sky's the limit to what you want to do here. So thinking about this as a MVP, and then what comes after that MVP, what are those features? I'm very interested to see what your listeners here have to say in terms of feedback, design, and very excited to get this wireframe into the designer's hand for another round of revision and get it back to you.
And we do have a hyper involved community here on the channel. And I think a lot of those folks are folks who are not going to be working with our firm. Our firm can only take so many cases. So they're folks who are going to have their comments and their discussion points. And a lot of those are going to be aimed at, getting this case ready for other firms or getting it ready for them to use as a pro se litigant. And I love that. And that perspective is invaluable because, listen, I don't work at other firms. I know how we do things. And listen, empirically, the way we do things works. Like, I don't really think it's in question. we couldn't really afford to be funding an app if it didn't work, right? You got to help the people. You got to win the case to make the money. Like it is what it is, right? But that being said, other firms do things other ways. So if you're watching the video and you're like, hey, that's not going to work for me. This firm that I'm working with needs this. Tell us. I think we care about that. Like I think we do. And further, if you're like, hey, as a pro se litigant, I've never been a pro se litigant because I don't hate myself, right? Like at the end of the day, I do view pro se litigation representing yourself as an act of self-harm, but some of you do it and you do it well, right? So I don't know the first thing about how that's going to work, but you do. And you can tell us, hey, this is what I need. And we need that. We need that from you because we don't have that perspective. And the reason that we worked out this long-term deal to keep this developing is because I don't think anyone's ever done this before. If this app existed, I can tell you right now, we wouldn't be funding it. It's not, this is fun. Like I enjoy working on the app, but like shelling out the money, not my idea of a good time, right? So I don't think anyone's ever done this before. So if you've got thoughts, we're going to try to incorporate those at least over time, over the course of years of development. Anyways, Brett, thank you so much. Everybody, please comment down below. This is an interactive process. This is an interactive coughing fit. No, this is an interactive process. And your comments could very well end up in a version of the app, even the first version, especially now, right? So please don't hesitate. Like, subscribe, comment down below to the channel so we can grow all that bullshit. Give us a thumbs down. We don't really care. Like at the end of the day, either we're helping people or not. But Brett, thank you. Thank you. It was great. It's great working with you. And I'm excited for next month. We're going to have so much more to see.
Yeah, this is going to be great. We want this app to be useful. And if it's not useful, then we got to build something different. So please tell us what you find useful, what features you'd love to have in here, or you'd like to see in the next version. Absolutely.
In my imagination for year 2, we're going to have a whole breakout FLSA, Fair Labor Standards Act section of the app, where it's like you're tracking your hours and you're screenshotting time cards, and you're making sure you're being paid your overtime correctly. But that's in the future. That's not for today.
All right. Good
All
stuff.
right. Take care,
this
everybody.
This is great, Vince. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brett.